Hi there, I'm Corundum Core, and this is my submission video for AGDQ 2019 for Fia All Songs. Fia is an atmospheric platformer developed by Swedish developer Swink Games. Came out in early 2018. The main mechanic of the game is interacting with the world around you through song. For the All Songs category, we're going to collect all 5 voices or songs, and we're going to collect 5 crystals in order to unlock 2 movement abilities. So the first thing that we're going to do is collect those 5 crystals. We're only supposed to be able to get 1 before entering the first song quest, but using a little bit of unintended platforming, like right here, there we go, we can grab some crystals early, grab the 5 that we need in order to unlock Glide, which saves us a decent chunk of time. Going for another early crystal right here. Gonna go for the quick route to get it. I missed it. So we're gonna do the slightly slower route. So now we get to see the singing mechanic in action. Gonna match pitch with this flower. Hold it for a few seconds. Now we've become friends with said flower, and it's gonna raise these platforms for us. Now that pairing mechanic is going to happen a lot throughout the run. Normally, in a casual playthrough, you'd be expected to pair with the baby deer that just ran off that way, but we're going to do a thing called baby deer skip. It's a little difficult. There's 2 parts to it. This first part, that tree branch that we just jumped across is constantly moving, so making that jump can be a little difficult. Now we're doing what are called ghetto jumps, named after the ghetto jumps from Metroid Prime, where you're doing a double jump off of a corner between 2 walls. Got it pretty quickly. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of trouble getting the first crystal, which means that all in all, we are going to end up getting about the same time that we would get if we had gotten the crystals first try and gone to pair with the baby deer. So this would have been a really good split before baby deer skip was found. Now, not so much. I take that back. A 2:53 is still an excellent time. That's about 7 seconds faster than what it would take if we had paired with the baby deer. So here's the first crystal that we're intended to grab. We're going to grab 2 more early crystals that we're not supposed to be able to get until post-game. Now, why are we able to get these crystals early? Well, that's because, as you can see, this game has a very, geometric art style, which is very, very beautiful looking, but also very useful for speedrunners. Oh, jumped a little bit early there. So every single triangle that you see is actually modeled into the map. It's not just for art purposes, which means that there are triangles that the developers didn't intend for us to be able to jump on that we can. Which means that we get to kind of make our own routes up areas. Like, we're not supposed to be able to run up that tree at all. We're not supposed to be able to make this jump right here, which is why you see me having to fight the game a little bit to make it up there. That's the 5th crystal. Now we're going to make our way back to the hub area. learn the glide ability from this big old tree, basically a knockoff Deku tree. None of the jumps needed in order to do all of those tricks first try. None of them are difficult jumps. They're just difficult to get first try every time. So the first 5 minutes of a run are pretty reset heavy. If you're trying to go for a PB, obviously you want to try and get all of those tricks first or second try. .512 though is definitely nothing to shake the stick at. Camera moved in a bit of a weird way there. So now we have the glide ability and we're on our way to the first voice quest. Voice quest? Did I say that? Voice quest or song quest. The term voice and song are used interchangeably throughout the run. Anytime I say voice, I mean song. Anytime I say song, I mean voice. So we are going to learn the bird voice here. But first we have to be introduced to the main antagonists, the Silent Ones. Silent Ones, unlike other creatures in the world, do not have the ability to connect with the world through song. Instead, what they do is they use a kind of like laser beam out of their eye to capture various creatures. And then they either keep those creatures captive or use them as an energy source or enslave them. It's kind of dark, actually. Here's the baby deer getting captured. Don't worry, we'll have a chance to free him at the end of the run. I'm going to pair with this baby bird here. It's going to help us make our way through the bird area. So I should mention what the three types of creature in each species are. There's the babies, the adults, and the leaders of the species. Babies you can pair with without having the voice of that species, and they allow you to access the plants that can only be accessed through the voice of that species. So we're supposed to open up this green plant that we just walked past and use the seed of it to break the Silent One's barriers, because that's what the green plant does. We use the baby bird to help us with that until we get the bird voice for ourselves. Adults of a species serve as a mode of transportation, essentially. Faster transportation or transportation to an area that we wouldn't be able to reach. But you can only interact with them if you have the voice of that species. And then finally, the leaders are the ones who give the song quests, and when you complete the song quest, they are the ones who give you the voice. So right over there is Bird Mom. Bird Mom is currently being attacked by the Silent Ones because the Silent Ones are trying to capture Bird Mom. They are going to be successful in capturing her, but we're going to immediately free her. Silent Ones obviously don't like that, so in retaliation they're going to steal Bird Mom's eggs. So the song quest for the bird song is to get Bird Mom's eggs back. Now, just like any other creature in the world, we can be captured by the Silent Ones. We don't want that to happen, so we're going to be trying to avoid them. To do so, we're going to be doing some movement meant to kind of manipulate the cycles of the Silent Ones. We only have partial control over when Silent Ones are going to move, so it's a bit of optimal movement, a bit of just going with what the game gives you. But we have a pretty good idea of what the Silent Ones will do at most times. As soon as he drops that, we're going to pick this up, go behind the pedestal in order to break line of sight. Silent Ones need to have line of sight for a few seconds in order to capture you. I'm going a bit of a risky route there. I could have easily gotten spotted by that Silent One, but I didn't want to wait for the cycle to be optimal. We're going to throw this egg over near Bird Mom. Don't worry, the egg's not going to break. It's actually pretty sturdy and a little bouncy as well. It actually bounced a pretty far distance away, which is a little unfortunate. That means that Bird Mom isn't going to be able to pick it up from the place that it ended up landing. Now we're just going to kind of follow along, kind of shadow this Silent One over here. Now we're about to be introduced into some scary creatures. Bears. Just in real life, or just like in real life, you don't want to disturb a bear's sleep because it'll get pretty angry with you. So that's what happened to that Silent One right there. We're not going to try and wake up bears. We're going to try and avoid any possible chance we have of waking up bears, or that same fate might befall us. Alright, the way that that egg bounced was a little unfortunate. It fell all the way down here. We were hoping it wouldn't do that, but it's not a terrible issue. I'm going to throw this egg over here. Hopefully Bird Mom's going to be able to pick it up. She is not able to, unfortunately. So we've got to set this one up there for her as well. So far we've had pretty decent Silent One cycles. Okay. We don't usually get spotted by that Silent One. It's not a huge issue if we do, though. It's pretty easy to break the line of sight with it. We actually had pretty decent movement there. That was really close to a gold. So now we have bird voice, which means that we no longer need to rely on baby birds to open up green plants for us. It also means that we're able to interact with the adult birds. However, unless we absolutely have to interact with an adult bird, it's pretty slow. So we try to avoid it as much as possible. Case in point, right here, we're going to make a bit of a difficult jump in order to avoid pairing with that adult bird that was just in the top right-hand corner of the screen. We get the jump. Now we're on our way to the deer voice quest. Got a little cutscene skip right there that was a cutscene to show us that there are other creatures like Fia in the world. That cutscene is supposed to end with us not being able to follow that other fox, because that other fox has glide when we are not supposed to have glide until now. But because we already have glide, it makes the cutscene a little bit weird. So we're making our way back over here, back up onto this tree. A little bit easier now that we have glide, because we can just glide over to that rock rather than doing the weird geometry to jump up to it. And now we're gliding over to the deer area. On your right, you're going to see a very big deer. We call him Deer God because, dear God, that's a big deer. Deer God is currently captured by the Silent Ones. He's ensnared by these white tendrils that are being shot out of stone obelisks that are being powered by captured singing flowers. So, if we free the singing flowers, we break the stone obelisks, which stops the white tendrils from ensnaring Deer God, and then Deer God will be free. Once Deer God is free, we have the ability to climb up Deer God using the trees covering Deer God's body. And then once we reach the top of Deer God's body, we'll be able to pair with him to learn Deer Voice. Now, on the way up Deer God, it's actually possible to skip a majority of the climb using something very cleverly called Deer Climb Skip. It's a little difficult to get. I'm going to try for it, obviously. The one thing that I'm worried about is if we miss it, it's pretty easy to completely fall all the way back to the ground, which makes things a little bit difficult to get back onto Deer God and restart the climb. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we just get Deer Climb Skip right off the bat. I wouldn't say that Deer Climb Skip is necessary for a good run, though. Up until very recently, the world record run... Oh, that was really strange. Up until recently, the world record run did not have Deer Climb Skip successfully. Okay. We were able to avoid that silent one pretty easily. It stood there for a long time. That was a little unfortunate. Ooh. Alright. We are not getting very good cycles with these silent ones, unfortunately. Alright. We just have a little more ways to go before we do Deer Climb Skip, or attempt Deer Climb Skip. As soon as I throw this green seed, I'm going to have to go straight towards Deer God in order to try and get the skip. So, fingers crossed. Barely missed it. Okay, so now I have to be careful and make sure I don't bonk on Deer God's body. There we go. Alright. So we didn't get Deer Climb Skip. We came very, very close. Which is a little unfortunate that we came so close and missed it. But still, this is a pretty decent time. We're still able to skip a portion of the climb. And now we make our way up to Deer God's head. And we pair with Deer God. So yeah, a combination of missing Deer Climb Skip and the unfortunate cycles with the silent ones. Lost a little bit of time there. So now we are on our way to the lizard area. Getting in and out of the lizard area is probably the, I'd say the most broken, the furthest from the intended route through the game. So there is a marsh area that we are supposed to use in order to get to, the lizard area and also leave from the lizard area. Getting to the lizard area, we're just going to glide to a post-game area to skip the marsh completely, and leaving the marsh, we're actually going to go above the marsh, which is a bit of a skip. And unfortunately, I have a cat on my desk that is messing with wires, so hopefully nothing goes wrong here. If anything does, I guess you won't know, because I'll be restarting the run and restarting the submission video. So, like I said, this is a post-game area. This is the area that we're supposed to reach once the credits start rolling. But it just so happens to be right next to the back of the lizard area. It looks like we're going to easily make the jump, but there's an invisible wall that pushes us down there. So, the Lizard Voice quest, there are these teleportation platforms that are blocking off the route for the baby lizards to reach the parent lizards, which are the three things that you see right there. These teleportation platforms are, again, powered by captured singing flowers. So if we free the singing flowers, we cut the power to the teleportation platforms and they break. So it's our job to break the 3 teleportation platforms, and after we do, Lizard God, which was that big old thing that we saw when we were gliding over here, will give us Lizard Voice. So, these are baby bears. Baby bears' voices can break Silent One's barriers, which is oh so convenient because there are no green seeds over here. No green plants, that is. So we're going to need to use these baby bears in order to free one of the singing flowers. So that's 2 down, 1 to go. Oh. So we're going to do a lot of skips in quick succession here. I'll try and talk about all of them. So right here we are skipping the platform over to the right of us, the bridge over to the right of us, I should say. Grab this baby lizard, it's going to help us get up here. We can take this tree in order to skip needing to free the other purple flowers in this area. Purple flowers are activated by Lizard Voice, so that's why they're all over this area. We got up here. Unfortunately, the baby lizards cannot follow us because we skipped those purple flowers, so we drop down here to take an intentional death. We will spawn back up onto the platform that we just reached, except now there will be some baby lizards there with us. And we're going to use them to do some platforming over here. We're going to try a little skip right here. We got it. So that avoided having to do some more platforming with the lizard flowers. Oh, that throw is off. So your throw is not exactly where the thing that you're throwing ends up is not exactly lined up with the reticule, which is a little bit unfortunate. So we're actually able to glide through this cutscene because we haven't touched the ground yet. So we're using that to glide over to the platform where the lizards are. It's a bit blind though, so the angle usually isn't perfect and you have to do a little bit of an adjustment like we did right there. This isn't too bad of a time. Alright, so just like we skipped the marsh on the way into the lizard area, we're going to skip the marsh on the way out of the lizard area. So we're just taking these orange flowers back up to the top. Now, the skip that actually allows this to be possible was found in the practice room of SGDQ 2018 by me. It's a really, really nice skip, saves about 3 minutes and allowed me to get world record by 1 second. So I'm really happy that I found it, and I think everybody else is too. So you can see a hole in the rocks right there that looks like it would be a great way to get through this area. There's actually an invisible wall right there that stops you from going through there though. So we had to find a way to get over here before the invisible wall pushed you down, and we found that little jump right there. So now we are going above the marsh area. So rather than having to do all the various platforming and freeing captured plants and also captured water, because the Silent Ones captured water, we just run along the top. This is also where we get introduced to dogs and wolves. So that white creature that we just saw was a wolf. Wolves that have been captured by Silent Ones and enslaved in order to do the Silent Ones' biddings are dogs. Don't worry, we have the ability to free dogs just like we have the ability to free those captured and used as energy sources by the Silent Ones. So we're skipping all of the platforming and everything that we'd have to do in the marsh area, and we're also skipping an underground cave section where we're supposed to learn more about wolves and dogs. So in case you don't recognize it, this is the bird area that we were in before. And we are making our way over to the wolf area for us to get wolf voice. But first we have to climb Wolf Mountain, Ice Mountain. There's a couple different names for it. The thing that's supposed to make climbing Wolf Mountain challenging is that there are a bunch of blue mushroom doors. Name of that is pretty self-explanatory. They are doors made by clusters of blue mushrooms that shrink and allow passage through whenever a wolf sings next to them. Platforming or jumping off that tree was a little weird right there. We have the ability to skip all 3 of the blue mushroom doors on the way up to the wolf cave, though. So we're going to be doing mushroom 1 and 2 skip, and then one of the 2 forms of mushroom 3 skip. Mushroom 1 and 2 skip skips the previous mushroom 1 skip and mushroom 2 skip. We are really, really original in naming skips in the Fia community. Oh, we missed the skip. We've got to get a pretty precise jump off of this icicle right here in order to get mushroom 1 and 2 skip. And unfortunately, this icicle is not playing nice. Alright, that looks good. It is. So now we're going to go for the easier of the 2 mushroom 3 skips. For some reason, they didn't notice that we can just run right along this ice slide that we're supposed to not be able to climb up. So now we're coming into the most RNG heavy part of the run. This is Wolf Cave. There's going to be a bunch of silent ones, a bunch of dogs, and 4 statues that are serving as a power source for that big silent barrier that you see over there. We are going to actually use the power source on the tails of the dog's armor to break those statues, which will in turn destroy the silent barrier. But the spawn times and locations, as well as the movement of the dogs in this area, is random. So you kind of just have to adapt to whatever the game gives you. So far, we're getting pretty good spawns on these dogs. Where's that dog? There we go. Yeah, this is not bad. This is a little better than average, I'd say. For a second there, I thought I had potentially missed something, because it's taking a while for the door to open. So unfortunately, this was a bit of a slow split for us. But now we are into the wolf quest. So these are the wolf moms, wolf pups. For some reason, they got stuck over here, and they need our help getting back over to Mama. Because they don't have the lizard voice to open up these purple flowers, and we do. I'm going to be doing a little bit of suboptimal movement in order to try and get these wolf pups to move a little bit earlier than they usually do in order to try and save some time. Alright, so far we've gotten one wolf pup. There's 2 wolf pups. There's 3 wolf pups. Where's number 4? There's number 4. Actually, not that bad of a time. Alright, so now we're on our way back to the center area in order to get the last voice, which is the jellyfish voice. I'm gliding around some death planes right now. So this is the first time we're actually pairing with an adult of a species. And we're literally just doing it because wolves are faster than we are. Whoa, that was a... Whoa, why are you jumping like that, buddy? This isn't a rodeo. So, this is where we're supposed to do a game of tag with our family. What the game doesn't tell you is that if you do tag with your family, they're going to get captured by some Silent Ones. So we're going to ignore our family in order for them to be saved from the Silent Ones. Right now we're trying to manipulate the adult bird to be over at this platform by the time we get up here. It is awesome. And so we're doing this in order to avoid pairing with the singing flower down there. In case you weren't able to tell, this is the tutorial area that we were in at the start of the run. Oh, ooh, that was really close. We almost fell there. So not the fastest it could go, but decent speed. So we used that bird in order to get over here and skip some Silent Ones. And now we're up here, and there's a bunch of Silent Ones below us that we want to obviously avoid. Having a little bit of trouble getting up onto this platform. Come on, game. There we go. So we just glide right over those Silent Ones. And so those cutscenes that we just skipped were basically explaining that there are some Silent Ones that are now trying to capture the big old discount Deku tree. And we've got to stop them. And the way we stop them is by pairing with some adult singing flowers. And those adult singing flowers spawn jellyfish. And jellyfish can capture silent ones and cause them to float in the air, like you can see over on the right side of your screen. So we're going to be losing a little bit of time here, that's okay. I say losing a little bit of time, we're going to be losing time off of our PB. Think gaining time against, or PB for the split, gaining time on our PB overall. Alright, so that cutscene that we just skipped showed that for some reason the Silent Ones are no longer interested in any of the creatures in the world, which we're obviously a little concerned about. So we are going to figure out what they're so interested in. So yeah, all these Silent Ones are all just running in one direction. So they're all looking at this gap, which is a little weird. So we're going to use these jellyfish to jump across the gap to try and figure out what they're all looking at. You can see Dear God in the background on the right over there. So there's a lot of jellyfish in this area. There's a bunch of different routes that you can take through there. I took the route that I'm most comfortable with. I think it's the safest way through there. Well, safest way that's still fast. So now there are more adult singing flowers, except these ones don't spawn jellyfish. Also, all these Silent Ones are kind of staring up at the sky, which is a little weird. Well, actually, they're not staring at the sky, they're staring at that floating rock in the center of the room. Well, they're looking around it, which is a little weird. Now, there's this one Silent One in the middle here, who's all cracked and broken. We're going to become friends with it. So we didn't do a pairing, but we sang next to it, and it made a sound, so close enough, right? Unfortunately, we can't open this door, but the Silent One can. So we're going to wait for it to open this door. Come on, buddy. So yeah, this is basically like a platforming escort mission, where we have to continue along with the Silent One. Except there are a couple parts where we can skip ahead. We don't lose height there because there's actually a bit of an updraft keeping us from falling. So, pairing with all the flowers on a level causes the floating rock in the middle to rise. We're trying to get the rock to rise all the way to the top. Okay, we just got a frame drop there. That was lovely. Please don't push me off of this like you're doing. So doing a bit of a skip right here, skip some platforming. Supposed to follow these deer flowers in the clockwise motion that they're moving. You can just move counterclockwise like that. It saves a bunch of time. Now, it's actually possible for us to skip this next outside section. We don't want to, though, because it's actually a little bit slower than just going along with the Silent One. Because the Silent One will move a bit slower if you're far away from it. So we want to stay close to it. Come on, buddy. Yeah. Sometimes the Silent One can get stuck down here. You have to bring it up. Not get stuck down there, which is good. We're actually making for decent time here. So, with that little bridge broken, we can no longer get over there. And the reveal is that the Silent Ones were the adult foxes the whole time. So, while the story is never explicitly stated, the developers Zoink Games intentionally kept it a little bit vague and open to an individual interpretation. The way that I interpret the story is that in the opening cutscene there's a bit of a crash landing with all of these Silent Ones landing in this area. And so I think the foxes are a technologically advanced race, but they've advanced so far that they've lost their ability to communicate with nature, which is what obviously the rest of nature can do, and it's why there's all of these different pairing things that Fia can do. But the child foxes still have that childlike wonder and happiness to be in and around nature that the adult foxes don't necessarily have. And so Fia, because she has interacted with the world so much, is able to teach her parent, which is that fox that we just saw, how to interact with the world again. And that's the key to getting what they want. They wanted to get that floating rock back together again. And if they had done that peacefully rather than through their forceful trying to capture all of the creatures in the world, none of this bad stuff would have happened. So this is actually going to be like a low 52, which I'm pretty happy with. It's my best recorded time. I have an unofficial 51:59 that I got while I didn't have splits up. And my audio also wasn't working. But a low 52 is a pretty good time. And it's a PB, so hey, I'm happy about that. While we're in this final little sequence, I just want to say thank you for looking at this GDQ submission video. It's an honor to even have the ability to have a chance to run this game at GDQ. And I don't know, I think Fia is a very beautiful looking game. I think it's a interesting speed game with a lot of interesting tech. And yeah, I think it would perform well at a GDQ. Either as the All Songs category, which is this video, or the All Abilities category, which I'm also submitting. Again, just want to thank the GDQ staff for looking at this video and considering Fia as an option for the games list for AGDQ 2019. Again, I have been Corundum Core, and this has been Fia All Songs. Thank you very much. Bye.